Go. Hello, hello.
Hello,
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good, good, good. Yeah, so I'll be a little bit different attire than normal. We're wearing a bit of a black today because I had to do the Zoom funeral earlier,
Ah, okay.
which was interesting. Unusual experience to do a funeral from a distance.
Oh, sorry, I misheard you. I thought you said Zoom shizzle, Zoom funeral. What was, who was,
Zoom funeral.
oh, is this for Moira?
Yeah,
Oh gosh, okay.
yeah,
How was that?
yeah. I mean, it was as they go, sad and happy because obviously awesome memories, but sadly not really making many
How
more.
many people went to the actual funeral?
I couldn't tell. So basically, what happened? It was one of her grandchildren had put a camera at the back of the room so you could see everyone,
Right.
and then it was linked out to other people who were listening. So some people from South Africa listening, some people from Abu Dhabi and all that.
Of course.
And so yeah, so it was weird for me. Actually, in the room was like, let's say 8 or 10, something like that.
Because you're allowed about 15 or something, aren't you? It's not many.
Yeah, I couldn't see, but yeah. So everyone had a mask on and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I suppose hopefully it was a celebration of her life rather than, I mean, it's always sad, but it's, she was quite a character, wasn't she, at the end of the day?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. It was just weird because it's not in person. I've never had one before that was remote more than anything else.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people are having to get used to all sorts of weird things like that, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, with the sort of vaccine stuff coming out on its way, do you know how it's actually working how they're reeling it out? Because I have no idea like who gets it or why or how or what.
So part of it seems to be age. Part of it seems to be if you've got conditions. So like if you've got, I don't know, I wouldn't say autoimmune, but actually that might be the wrong one. But people that are vulnerable maybe is a better word. So for example, people with learning difficulties often have other conditions that mean they're quite weak. So for example, Down syndrome, they've often got heart disease as part of the genetic difference, so so I think they're doing those. But I think the over 50s, which obviously I'm in, is May.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, so yesterday they were doing 1,000 vaccinations a minute across England.
Very good.
But everyone's got to have two, so that's the thing, is like
yeah,
like Nana and Grandad, their second one is mid-March, so you're going to have a whole load of firsts, and then you're going to have a whole load of seconds before you can start the next lot of firsts. But as they're ramping it up, it may be that actually they can they can do more, and there are some days where because they invite people as opposed to you must come, they end up with vaccine left over.
Yes. Yeah.
So I know, because your aunt works in a doctor's, she was then phoning round people that were over 70 for the over 80s saying, could you pop in because we've got some vaccine left.
That's good.
And because the Pfizer one doesn't keep, you've got to use it or throw it. So they're just, I think they managed to find like another 10, 15 people to just offer it to.
Yeah.
There and then, because it's just ridiculous to waste it. I get that not everyone wants to have it, and I think I'm really glad we live in a country where people have the choice. But it's but if it's there, then we should make sure people that do want it get a chance to get it. So
yeah, of course. And there's some people, especially if you're in a situation where you have a condition where you haven't been able to physically leave the house for the last however long, purely not from a psychological standpoint, but from the previous illness or surgery or whatever has to leave you immunologically very, very weak.
vulnerable.
Vulnerable. Yeah. Is that even a word? Immunologically?
I think it might be.
It is now.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Do you like my new chair, by the way? Do you like the new chair?
It's got
It's a chair.
Has it got a jacket in it, or is that just a chair?
No, it's a taller chair. So it's got a higher back.
Well, that turned up.
We built it. We built it yesterday.
Bloody hell! I only saw you like 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, I you know me. It was 2 business days from Costco, so it's like, yeah, done.
Yeah, I'm debating whether to get. I really want an armchair, but I just don't know where I'm going to put
Oh,
it.
this one, honestly, it's very comfortable. £89 to you.
I want a proper like smoking armchair, you know.
Oh yeah, okay, I've got you.
One of them. I'm not bothered about like a swivel chair with the arms. I mean, that is always nice, but you know.
I've got you. Yeah, you could get one of those ones with the things over the top. You know, the old
with a light on it. Yeah, that would be very interesting, wouldn't it? I don't know. I just haven't got any space. I don't know where I'd put it. It'd be kind of pointless.
Yeah, you're gonna have to wait till you got your own place.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like the idea of having like 2 armchairs next to each other, and you just wear a dressing gown and like a ruff,
smoking jacket, and and a cravat.
I always get confused. Is it a cravat or an ascot?
My understanding is a cravat is the one where it kind of goes under the shirt and it kind of
goes like
puffs up. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But it's not the one. It's not the one that you wear on the outside that's buttoned. That maybe is an ascot. It's actually it was in the 60s and 70s. They wore them under the shirt, inside the shirt, rather than outside. So whether that's the difference, I don't know. A good question for the day.
It is.
Phone James O'Brien. Phone James O'Brien.
To anyone listening, feel free to comment. You can say what it is.
Yeah, if Al may know.
Oh, he'll definitely know, because we have people coming in asking, "Oh, do you sell cravats?" And we're like, "What do you mean?" Because there's like a big one.
Yeah.
We don't sell them, but we hire them. But they're like, "Oh no, I want something under the shirt," and I'm like,
"Yeah,
that's an ascot." And they're like,
"No,
okay.
I thought it was only because my dad had cravats."
Okay, I'll defer to that then.
And when I was in the early 80s, when I was a new romantic, I used to wear my dad's dinner suit or dinner jacket with a white shirt, and then have the cravat inside when I went out. I've probably got pictures somewhere.
Do you dress like Boy George? No.
No, more like Spandau Ballet.
David Bowie.
Or Duran Duran.
Okay, yeah, Spandau I can see.
In the early days, and also who's the other one? Oh no, see, Boy George was later. This is kind of early.
My timing's confused.
Soft Cell. You would know. Like Tainted Love.
That's Soft Cell. Oh, they Soft Cell. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cover. But yeah.
Is it? I thought the Marilyn Manson was the cover.
No, there's that Soft Cell is a cover. There's a one from the 60s.
Oh my god.
It's like a Northern Soul type song.
Bloody hell, this is like Bittersweet Symphony where everyone's covering everyone. Oh my god. No,
and sometimes you just
Wish You Were Here. That's the one.
Well, it's like A Star Is Born, the film. You know, there's like the latest one is like the 5th version, I think.
Is it? Oh Jesus Christ, I didn't know that.
It's a 4th or 5th. Because there was black and white, then there was Judy Garland, then there was Barbara Streisand. Now this one. So 4th.
Now it's Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Okay, go back. What the hell is a new? Do you say new or neo-romantic?
New. Okay. NEW, new romantic.
Go on.
Okay, so post-punk, this thing called new romantic came out. So they wore kind of like tartan trousers and big shirts with lots of ruffles on them. Ultravox would be another band like Midge and people like that. And the music was heavily synthesizer. So it went away from kind of guitar, bass, drum and singer. It was a lot of synth, and in some, well, not all cases, but some they probably didn't even hand guitars. They would have had electronic drumming as well. So yeah, it was that, but it was just the age. I was 15, 16. It was that age when you're just starting to think about what you want to look like. And I think the difference when I was that age was you really could tell what music someone liked by how they dressed. So in Worcester, where I'm from, you know, you'd have a lot of people walking around in, you know, double denim.
That's not a mod, is it?
No, that in Worcester it was called a grebe, but basically a rocker. So they would be into AC/DC, Status Quo. that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And they all wore patchouli oil, which is like this really stinky smell stuff. And they even had, there was pubs they went to, okay, and then you'd have punks and you'd have new romantics and you'd have people into indie type stuff, and mods obviously, and they really, you could really tell by their clothes what music they were into. So there was a real identity around it. So it wasn't just the music, it was the fashion that went with it, you know. And so yeah, it would be, you know, you kind of like, I'd look at a guy in double denim and think, I can't go out with you, I won't like the music that you like.
Oh my God, you segregated yourself. Jesus Christ.
But you know, that's how it was. But you could tell, you know, you knew what someone was into. Yeah, so I'm not saying it was, you know, I don't know, you might say it's better now because it can be more eclectic.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. Wouldn't it be better? I think it's better in the fact that there's no division, so you're not going to have any sort of tribal thing.
Well, you had fights, mods and rockers. Clearly, you had fights down on Brighton Beach and all that kind of stuff. You know, you definitely had issues with it.
Yeah, it's a good and a bad thing for this exact same reason. It's good because you haven't got that division, but it's equally bad because you haven't got that shared commonality. So you haven't got that thing that is that unifying force you'll have between the specific group. I know we're all going to get it along because of our shared interest in this.
But I think what I liked about it was because you couldn't buy the kind of clothes we wore in the shops very easily. I would make my own clothes, cut my own hair. Like I had a white shirt and I sewed lace onto it to make it a frilly shirt.
Okay.
You know, we had to go up to Birmingham from Worcester to get anywhere near the clothes that we wanted to wear. And so there was a lot of, I don't know, there's quite excitement, I suppose, in terms of feeling like you're being creative. Now, obviously, we looked like a whole load of other people that also were into that, and we felt we didn't. But we probably looked different compared to a lot of people in Worcester because it's such a small town.
Yeah.
You know, so there was something about feeling you were a bit different, even though you were probably in another arena, a sheep. You know, because we'd go up to Birmingham to see someone like Japan in concert, and obviously everyone is dressed like we are. You know, you're with your tribe, aren't you then? But in Worcester, if I bumped into my elder sister, she'd be like, why is Laura wearing that? Why's she got her pajamas on in the street? You know.
What? You wearing pajamas in the street?
Well, they were just stripy trousers, you know.
Like Beetlejuice kind of things.
Yeah, I had stripy trousers and a couple of pairs of tartan trousers, and to say I made a lot of my clothes. You know. And then obviously we had then a little bit later we had Wham. So then we all started wearing this kind of fatigued leather stuff, you know, that they wore, and yeah.
Wham was a hell of a look. It was a good look.
Oh yeah.
Very greased.
So funny when you look back at it then, the hair.
Well, it's just the same thing with me. Like remember when we went to Belgium and I was growing my hair really long.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, my hair at one point was down on my lip, and I
mean, your hair's curly, isn't it, when it's longer?
So
wavy.
It kind of flicks out like that at the end. So sometimes it would behave itself and it kind of work. So I'd have like a wave going around my head. But like when we went on holiday, it wasn't behaving itself. So I had like this, it went like that, and so we had to straighten it many times, which the end result was very good. But it just took a lot of work, a lot of time.
Again, all of us have got really thick hair, haven't we? You know, so straightening hair is an absolute nightmare. But yeah, I do remember. I think for me though, Nathan had the best hair in that era.
Hands down.
You know, he was like Sideshow Bob, wasn't he? But ginger, just like
we've got like a group chat, all of us lot, and one of us found our year group book from when we left school. And so you got all of these pictures, and one of them was just Nathan with his giant afro, and it looked most like a celebrity. And they put a picture of Sideshow Bob next to it. That was in the school fucking yearbook.
And then, of course, 2 years later, he's got no hair, has he? It's just,
skinhead.
Yeah. So funny. But yeah, I do remember that. And it used to kind of bounce, didn't it, when he walked? It actually it moved.
I must say, it did make whenever we whenever we'd go out and just like pass out on the floor. It was made a lovely pillow, I must say. Yeah, it was good.
Oh dear. Very
Why
funny.
why was it hard to get the clothes you were after?
Because we were kind of, I don't know, maybe 6 months ahead of what the fashion was in the shop. So probably the only shop we had,
Oh.
we probably felt that was near what we wanted to wear was Miss Selfridge.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of very early 80s. So they probably had, and things like we used to wear pixie boots. You know what I mean by that?
Mm.
So they're kind of pull-on boots, ankle boots, and they
Okay.
might be a bit pointy. I had a bright orange pair, and
Like
had
Chelsea?
yeah, but they were wider, and they were
Okay.
almost had like folds to them. A bit like it's
Okay.
probably a bit like an Ugg boot, but long before Ugg boots.
Okay.
So things like that we wanted. We just couldn't get in Worcester. The shoe shops just didn't do them. So we'd have to go up to a bit of a niche boutique in Birmingham and buy them. You know, it was just, you know, we weren't street. Probably what we were trying to wear had probably been in London 2 years before.
Mm.
You know, because obviously all these things start, you know, like the King's Road and stuff like that, start all around there.
Mm-hmm.
Just takes ages. And of course, you didn't have social media in those days. We didn't even have MTV. So I think the only thing we would have seen would have been things like Top of the Pops.
Mm.
And then we would have had magazines like what's it called? I can't remember now, but there's one newspaper that used to come out every week that was a music magazine, basically. So you would see stuff in there in terms of what people were wearing,
Okay.
you know. But yeah, but I say quite exciting in many ways, because you felt like you were doing something a bit different, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's fascinating, the evolution and the change. A, in music, and B, in fashion that goes along with music, and the sort of tribal side of it you have as well. I think this is the different thing we're having now, because we want to be tribal and fit into groups and fit in social ways. So whether that's by how we dress, how we talk, things we drive, things we eat, whatever, because it's not as clear a divide. It's not as simple as, if you listen to this music, you dress this way. It's very two clear identifying factors, because it's not as clear as that now. I think people are finding other ways to do it.
Right.
But I'm trying to think of what they are. I mean, people will want to find other ways to sort of fit in and identify themselves as part of a group, as part of something else.
I mean, some of it might be you know, in the days when you could do this, you know, there might be certain bars or pubs you would go to that you wouldn't go to other ones. I don't know, like maybe like, you know, you wouldn't go to a Latin American bar, but you would go to, you know, Purple Turtle or whatever. Do you know what I mean? There might be places you would hang out because you know your tribe would be there, kind of thing. Yeah, it is a weird one. It is a weird one, but I think, but then you see, by about mid-80s, it all changed again, because then we had, I'm trying to think what the music, I was working abroad by then, so I then kind of missed out on about 18 months of music, because obviously in Europe, music at that point is just pretty dull. You know,
So that
it's just Europop.
Craft work, that sort of
Well,
thing?
it wasn't even that. It wasn't even that, because Kraftwerk was before then. It was just in clubs and stuff. A lot of it would be what I'd call Euro trash type stuff, and then we'd have the occasional song, and we'd be like, "Oh my god, got to dance to this," because
you
know. So
it.
something like, you would. So you would just go and dance. But it was just very different music, very different. I don't know if it's even improved now.
Probably not.
It's just just different culture again, you know.
Yeah, I wonder if there's more of a boom with sort of like French. I think French would definitely work. There's an artist called Madion, who is from Paris, and he hit the scene running when he was 16. He's an absolute like that. And then like 3 years later, he's on like an Ellie Goulding album.
Oh wow!
He's more of a DJ is the wrong word, but he's that sort of style of music. But it's very distinctively him. But it's really good. It's basically if you get like Pendulum mixed with Genesis, Justice. Sorry, put them together. That's what you get. But no, it's really good. But I don't know about other ones.
And I suppose access again to music has changed. So probably when I was in you know, in Belgium and France, there wasn't access to, you know, what was being played in America and in Britain and all that sort of stuff as easily as it is now, you know. So I suppose that was part of it. You know, they were just liking what they were being fed, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's interesting. It's weird that you wouldn't. Either it's because we've got the markets here where we don't listen to stuff that's written in a different language, or
I think that's part of it. And I think I think other countries are more open to it.
Well, because we're a lazy, arrogant country who can't be asked to learn anyone else's language.
Yeah. So no, you're right. But and you think about you can think about like you know, ABBA, going back to ABBA, when they won the Eurovision Song Contest with Waterloo, they sang it in English. They didn't sing it in their own language because they thought, oh, we'll get more votes if we sing it in English.
Oh, well, clever, yeah.
You know, so and again, I think look somewhere like Holland, you know, I mean, a lot of those people, they speak 5 languages, don't they?
Yeah. Well, I was about to ask, like, from yourself, or someone who can speak 3 languages, what is it? Yeah, that's got to be an advantage to be able to go to these places and be, you can understand what they're saying, or at the very least get a gist of it, actually appreciate the music a little bit more.
I actually found music quite difficult with singing. With the different language, I found it quite difficult to pick up, because you know how some people, when they sing, they don't sing the full word in English. I'm trying to think of some silly examples, but you know, there are.
You mean like Glockle stops kind of thing?
I just mean where you can misinterpret the words because they're trying to fit the words into a melody.
Oh yeah.
So sometimes they'll kind of squash a word, or only say half, or they don't finish the word properly. Like, you know, in English it would be like a T, wouldn't it? You wouldn't finish the T, so you don't hear it. So I used to find that quite difficult in other languages to actually hear all the words. They ran them together, unless I like really decided, right, I'm going to really study that song, and maybe I will probably want to see the lyrics and read it. And that's possibly just because of the way I was taught languages, because we were taught to read and write in a language before we spoke it. And so even when I was working in France, and if I heard a new word, the first question I would ask in French would be comment ça s'écrit, which means how's that spelt? Because I needed in my brain to know the letters to be able to log it, you know. Whereas you think as a child, you know, when you're little, you learn a ton of words, you've no idea how they're spelt.
Yeah, and also it must be a case of you'd want to know those other words because you want to have it spelled, because if there's a single letter difference, it's a whole new word.
Yeah.
A whole new word.
And I did, so I did that once. So here's my example where I got it wrong. So one word is pile and the other word is pilule. Okay. So they sound pretty similar, don't they? So I said to my friend, I'm going to go and get a pilule for my watch, because pile actually, so pilule means pill, pile means battery.
Okay.
So I thought I was saying I'm going to go and get a battery for my watch. I was actually saying I'm going to get the contraceptive pill for my watch.
Everyone was like, huh?
Yeah, so she thought that was hilarious, because you know, so peel and pilule. So that, like you say, just one letter different. And yeah, it was quite embarrassing.
Well, you learn the hard way. There was some joke.
Luckily, she stopped me before I got in the shop.
Yeah, I think then they're like, huh? There was a joke, something similar to that, where I cannot remember the context to save my life. It was basically in our German lesson where someone was like a border guard or something. I want to say it was like it doesn't work historically, but basically the premise was that it's there's someone on like a side of the border 70 years ago or whatever, German on one side, English on the other. And the English one is patrolling, and he sees a German refugee trying to cross over the border. So the English one is like, oh, he's not going to. He says, stop, or I'll shoot. Stop, or I'll shoot. He's like, oh no, he's German. He's not going to understand it. So he holds up his gun and he goes, how or the ich Scheiße, and Scheiße means shit. Schieße means shoot. So he says, stop, or I'll shit. It's quite a good joke.
The other one that I remember from, we had a Spanish girl staying with us as an exchange when I was growing up, and for some bizarre reason, it was through the church, so we had to have the priest for dinner, because he'd arranged the exchange,
right?
And he said when he went to Spain, they'd done this big dinner for him and celebration and everything, and he wanted to say in Spanish, "Oh, I'm really embarrassed that you've done all this for me." So he said, "Estoy muy embarazado," because he thought embarrassed, embarazado must be this, must be the same thing. Well, it means pregnant.
How?
Well, I don't know. So they got this big priest saying, "I'm very pregnant." It was just like, so yeah. I think every language has got it, hasn't it? Where we try and just translate across, and it just doesn't work.
Well, I've already told this in a previous episode, but I did the same mistake when I did my German exchange.
Right.
So we had Pascal come and stay with us. That
Yeah.
was cool. A couple of weeks later, I go and stay with them, and trying to pick up the language. I'm not really confident in talking it. I'm trying to understand what they're saying, so I get a gist of what they're saying. And every morning when he leaves to get the bus, he'd say a word to his mum. So it wouldn't be like Auf Wiedersehen, it would be a single syllable word. So I'm like listening for a couple of days. I was like, okay, I got it. And so he said, in German, he said to his mum, he said, bye. And I walked to the door and I went, Schloss. Now, what he was saying was tschüss, which means bye.
Okay.
I misheard it. And I was like, that sounds like something I've already heard. So as I walked to the door, I went, castle. And luckily they never said anything, but they were just like, what the hell?
But that's the whole thing, isn't it? And the other one I remember, again, there was a lot of Spanish people went to church. This other lady, she got mixed up kitchen and chicken, so she went into a butcher's and asked for a kitchen.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's just the sound, isn't it? The other way around. And I think in Dutch, I think they say floorcollie, not cauliflower.
Oh, they just switch it around.
Yeah. So I think they, so again, they would come out and say, oh, can I have a flower collie, please?
Yeah.
Thinking, well, that's the same thing, and we say cauliflower.
Cauliflower. Language is so fucking weird. It's fascinating, endlessly complex as well.
Sorry,
it's
just sort my ear out. Hold on.
I wish you would.
Sorry, there we go. Sorry.
It's fascinating and endlessly complex at the same time. Like speaking as an educated perspective from someone who only knows one language. Okay. What's a word? Do you know the word to throw something through a window?
What, in another language?
No, just in English. Do you know what the word is?
Oh, is it fenestrate?
Yeah, no. So defenestrate.
Defenestrate.
Yeah, and so in German it's Fenster. In French it's fenêtre. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you've got the Latin basis, and you've got them pretty much very similar in that respect. But it works for that word, but it doesn't work for other ones, like that embarrassed one you were talking about. Yeah. That's two completely different things, even though they're basically on the same word. The same
exactly.
Physical construction of a word.
Yeah, I know. But whether embarrassed comes from something, I don't know. But as you say, why they? And the other one in Spanish that gets confusing is that when they've got a cold, they say "estoy muy constipado."
Yeah.
So they see constipation as blocked in the nose, not in the digestive system. So again, if you went into the chemist and asked, you could ask for the wrong thing.
I guess. Well, I guess it's the same principle, I suppose. It's just different areas of the body because it's still.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you could end up with a laxative for a cold, couldn't you?
Yeah, not very useful. I feel.
Or the other way around. The other way around, probably.
Another Spanish one is chocolate.
Oh yeah.
Which is heroin.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I mean, walking around Madrid, people would just be coming up beside you and going, chocolate.
Yeah.
To see if you want anything.
I can't remember who warned me that. I heard it somewhere. No, I can't remember who warned me, but they said if anyone offers you that, don't do it.
No.
Or if you like it, then take it, but it's not chocolate.
No. Yeah. No, it's not chocolate. Yeah. That's for sure. Yeah.
They're not made from the same thing, are they? Like they're not made from the same bean or anything. I don't know. I don't know what heroin was made from.
Well, nor do I, but it's not made. Oh, is it?
You should know, Mum. You know everything.
Is it not like from? It's not to like opium is from poppies, isn't it? It's not from that.
Yeah.
Is it? No.
Opium's poppies. Cocaine is coca, not cocoa.
Mm-hmm.
So COCAB.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, that shows how much we're into drugs these days, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, ask us 20 years ago. Wait, me? 20 years ago?
Have you watched?
Ask
You probably haven't, but have you watched It's a Sin at all?
Mm-mm. Go
on. So it's set in the 1980s, at the start of the AIDS epidemic. But the reason I thought of it is because all the way through they're playing all the 80s music as well, which we were talking about earlier. And it's set in London, so it's kind of where the main, and obviously when it started out, AIDS was seen as a gay disease because you know they were just having more sex basically, so they would, you know, it's just really well done. It's either on, I think it might be Channel 4, so you can get it on all 4. You know, you can do it as a catch up, but yeah, really good, really well done, and really powerful, just to kind of understand, you know, because there's one bit where you've got one person in a ward on their own and they're all wearing masks and gloves because they didn't even know how it was contracted to start with, you know, and just how just how, you know, people, not only were they hating people that had AIDS, but they were just so anti anybody that was anything other than straight, you know. So yeah, it's really good. But I said that the backdrop is the music and the clothes and the, you know, the whole era, which is obviously for me is quite interesting.
The only education I have on it is probably Philadelphia, which is a great film.
Okay. Yeah, it's similar to that. It's similar to that in terms of, you know, going through people, you know, finding out that they're ill and be getting worse and trying to find ways to cure it. But it's also interesting their parents' reactions.
Okay.
Really interesting, because obviously at the time, you know, having a gay child just wasn't something you accepted at all.
The source of embarrassment, I'm sure.
Yeah, embarrassment. Just like, I don't know, I can't. Without watching it, it's difficult to explain it. But it's just, it was really well done in terms of us. When Les and I watched it, just kind of thinking back to our own lives at that point and what, you know, how biased and, you know, prejudice, I suppose, is the word I'm looking for.
So so are you saying that that's how you were at that time?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, because again, I until I went to college, I probably didn't know anyone that was even gay, you know, because again, I think possibly, you know, obviously people were, but they were, you know, it was well hidden. So I think there was one pub we used to go to called Five Ways in Worcester that was known where gay people hung out. So there was, you know, we used to go down there just because it was
bad name for a pub.
Bad name for a pub, but it was called Five Ways.
Specifically with that reputation.
Exactly. So probably wasn't until I went to college to Wolverhampton that I really kind of got exposed to more people that were gay, and it was, you know, and again, I don't think it wasn't never an issue for me in any way, but I think, you know, had I gone home and said, oh, I've become a lesbian, I could just, you know, my parents would have been like, what, you know, you're no longer our daughter, kind of thing, because of where they were with it all.
Yes.
No, and people, you know, people talked about people being, you know, all the names they used.
All the lovely names.
All the lovely names, you know. But so I think it was quite interesting just to watch it from that perspective. And as you say, other than Philadelphia, I've not really seen much done around it really, and I think because it is another virus, I think it's just quite interesting they've done it now, you know.
Well, that's where I'm hearing it more and more now, is from the doctors that I listen to, where they're saying this, you know, we're comparing this back to H1N1, Ebola, swine flu, whatever, AIDS epidemic as well, and a lot of these guys and women will live through all of them, so they know how it relates back to them all. And they were just talking about how AIDS was so misunderstood, and so people were so uneducated about it, and equally the doctors themselves, because they didn't know what the hell was going on to begin with.
Well, they didn't know how it was communicated initially.
They had no idea.
You know, so obviously they had to go to the extreme of, you know, being super careful till they really understood it.
Yeah, if you don't know, absolutely.
No. I was just going to say something then and I've forgotten. That shows how old. Oh yeah. So Dr. Fauci.
Yeah, he was around.
was around then. I mean, he's in his 80s, isn't he? I think he is late 70s, early 80s now. But he was around through. And again, they were probably they were overzealous, way too extreme. And then obviously as they understood it more, and also as they realized there was ways to stop someone from going from HIV into full-on AIDS, they could actually allow people to actually continue living, which at one point it was just a death sentence,
It was,
so
absolutely,
so yes, it's just really good. But as I say, the music and the whole thing is good as well, if you want to kind of understand what it was like.
It's a Sin.
It's a Sin.
What did you watch on?
Pardon?
What did you watch it on?
I think all 4.
Okay, cool.
Channel 4. It's all on there now. You can watch it all kind of thing. So it's it's, and there's a bit you'll find quite funny, is that one of the characters is working in Savile Row.
Nice.
And just some of the characters that are in Savile Row, and I think oh gosh, now I'm going to waffle and show.
Go on. If it's working out an actor, I love this game.
It's work out an actor. Okay.
Yes, let's go. All right, come on.
Song and Dance with Hugh Jackman.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Yes. So I think he's in it in as a tailor in Savile Row. I think it's him.
Yeah, he did the Emmys or something a while back.
Yeah.
That's him. Yeah. God, I'm good.
You are good. Well done. Straight away.
Or your guess was your clue was very
good.
Or
I kind of know what you and I've looked at together to kind of think how can I jog Matt's mind. Yeah. So I think he's in the Taylors as well.
Nice.
But it's that bit's quite funny actually, because it's just so staid and set in its ways kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd be fascinated to know who was telling me. Oh, you were telling me. You were telling me what the Savile Row people are doing now.
Yes.
Another one.
Yeah, you'll have to have a look at that.
Yeah, it does look cool. What do you see? I really liked the Imitation Game more for.
Yes.
Again, the plot was brilliant, but it's just you actually find out more about Alan Turing and how he was treated, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, this man helped defeat the fucking Nazis, and you chemically castrated him, left him to die in his house. You're like, you assholes.
Yeah.
Because that's even way before. That's the
it
40s.
Is. Yes.
That's the 40s.
I mean, by I think the 80s, it was legal to be gay. I think when you were 21.
I think fucking bizarre.
I know, but obviously before then it was illegal. End of.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it being illegal. Second of all, if it being legal past a certain age, you're like.
Oh, because they felt that when you were young, you were vulnerable to be subjected to stuff that you didn't really want to do.
Well, that's okay. Yes, but that's a bigger issue in general, not just particularly about homosexuality. And it's also puritanical bullshit of homosexuality being a fucking choice. It's like, no, it's not. You just are how you are, or whatever that might be.
Yeah. Well, again, I think you'll find it interesting, like the parents' attitudes to it all.
Yeah. I'll think of it a go. What I was trying to find. I was trying to find The Breakfast Club yesterday, but I can't find the fucker anywhere to watch it.
Oh, I don't know.
Which is annoying because I watched a couple of years ago, like 40 minutes. I went bored and turned off. I was now like, okay, I can actually sit down and watch The Breakfast Club because I've never seen it. Like all the way through.
I'm trying to remember what it's about.
It's a bunch of kids, even though they're like 30, in detention, and it's how they're all troubled for different reasons. And it's about they basically have to try and communicate with each other without the teacher knowing, because the teacher's like down the hall and can hear them.
Yeah, I've not seen that.
Again, people are going to yell at me for saying that. That's all I've seen of it. I don't know any more beyond that. I'm sure there's more to it than that. I only want to watch it because then I think I'll understand more references from Community.
Okay, yes. The other one that I've enjoyed in recently, and I don't know if I've told you or that I've told the girls, but is the One Night in Miami.
Okay.
So again, I think it's Prime or Netflix. It's one of those two. So it's set the night that Muhammad Ali becomes world champion.
Ooh, okay.
And he before he fights, he goes and meets with Malcolm X, because he's becoming a Muslim. So he's Cassius Clay when he wins it, and then he announces like the day after that he is now Muhammad Ali. But he also meets with Sam Cooke. Yes, Sam Cooke. And then there's, I can't remember the other guy's name, but he's an NFL footballer. And the four guys, he then becomes an actor. So again, I can't remember who he is. But anyway, the four guys meet together in a hotel room because they're celebrating. But obviously, you know, Malcolm X is saying, look, you know, you can't go out drinking, Muhammad, because you're now a Muslim. You know, so this is the best way to celebrate is just with us. And obviously Malcolm's being guarded and stuff because he knows that people are going to try and kill him. And it's just the four of them having a big argument about life and their attitude to being black. Because obviously Sam Cooke to this point had gone the route of, I'm going to please the white people. Whereas Malcolm X was more, you know, I want to be separate. We want to have our own nation. We want our own
positive segregation.
The black nation of Islam was the church they were all belonging to. So and of course Muhammad's just doing this transition, you know, and then this other guy. And so it's just really interesting. They were all kind of fighting to do well in their own chosen career, but Malcolm was kind of having a go at them about, did that help the average black person or did it just help them? So yeah, it's really, I mean, it's a play that's been made into a film. So it's not so it's only really most of it is just in, you know, you do see the fight at the beginning and stuff, but majority of it is in this hotel room. But I think what was really powerful for me that, you know, by the end of it, Sam Cooke is starting to think about writing more powerful music with more powerful lyrics than where he is when he starts. And I just thought that was really, I felt that it was quite emotional that he, you know, that he actually wanted to sing more political songs, but didn't have the, I don't know, not the guts, but you know what I mean? He didn't have the strength initially to, or maybe he just wanted to be able to make it before he then said what he really thought. But yeah, it's another one that's just been really good, really good. I think that's the one thing about lockdown, isn't it? You've got to find some decent stuff to watch, not just rubbish, you know.
Well, this was I read A Brave New World recently. And a quote that stuck with me is that it is infinite cruelty to provide someone with excessive leisure. I was like, shit. Because Netflix is a prime example of that. We've got all of this here, and Netflix itself, there is so much on it, but you don't want to watch any of it, and so you spend 30 minutes scrolling through trying to find something, and you're like,
I know.
What is the point? Because it's either you've never heard of it, it's dog shit, you've already seen it, or it's another fucking series you've got to try and watch, and you're like, it's like the it's The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan thing. I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to watch it. Let's sit down and watch it because I've heard so many good things about him. I look at it, it's an 8-part, hour-long episode series, and I'm like, I don't need to spend 8 hours watching this. I was like, give me an hour and a half, done. I don't need to spend 8 hours. Like, what the hell am I going to learn?
But also, I mean, you know, the other thing is because it's an algorithm, your Netflix would look completely different to my Netflix. So I'm just gonna have to blow my nose. You know,
I wish you would.
Sorry, I'll just take my microphone off 1 moment.
Muted. Sorry, we still get the pleasure of watching it. That's the important thing, you know.
Can't hear a thing. Did you still hear?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, yeah.
So sometimes what we'll do is, because we've got multiple people on our account, I'll go and see, let's go and see what they've been watching, and then we'll get some different suggestions.
Yeah, that's not a bad move actually.
Because otherwise they just think, well, Matt and he likes this, so we'll just show him that. And then it just sends you down that rabbit hole, doesn't it?
Wait, I think here's the trap I fell into, because you remember my DVD collection that 5 years ago. I think because we were moving and all that sort of stuff, I was like, okay, let's get rid of a load of it. And you know, in my head, I was like, it'll be fine because all these new streaming stuff coming out, I can find it on there.
And yeah,
big no.
I know.
Because either it isn't on there or it is, and then they take it off, and you're like, why? Well,
Or you've got to pay.
Or
you've got to pay for it.
Paying for it doesn't bother me because if I've got 4 streaming services, actually that does bother me because that is a lot of money. Whereas like now, I've got 2 shelves of DVDs now. I'm like, cool, I've got my things I want, and it means I can watch them again. And the things that I like, I tend to watch over and over. I don't exactly have a huge pool of things I watch.
So just on that, when you guys were kids, we'd get a new DVD, okay, and you guys would watch it like 20 or 30 or 40 times sometimes. I mean, not in a week, but you know. And I talked to Les about stuff like that, and he's like, no, my kids didn't do that. And I was like, what was it about us that meant we like consumed I mean, like Star Wars, how many times have we watched Star Wars?
Couldn't count.
Yeah, I mean, and also I like watching something again. Now some people don't, do they? Some people like, no, I've seen it, but why would I want to watch it again?
So are you talking about the things that we either get from the library or Blockbuster, or just in general?
Oh, I think there were definitely sometimes you only had it for a week, didn't you? So you would watch it over and over again. But there are other things I can think back and think, you know, we had it on our own DVD or on video, as was, and you know, not every week, but you were like, oh yeah, let's watch that again, you know, and it would get played.
I think. Well, so the earlier ones would be the classic Disney, so Hercules, Sleeping Beauty, Pocahontas, Mulan, obviously because they're masterpieces. So you watch it over and over, and because you're a kid. I think as we went on, first the habit just kind of stayed, and I think because you're right, it's a good question because I can name probably about 3 or 4 people who have barely seen anything, and they were like, "How have you seen so much?" I'm like, how are you not? Like, what have you done your whole life? Like, what have you been doing? And they'd be like, oh, I've been out in the garden, I've been building something. And you're like, oh, okay, it's different how people spend their time.
Yeah, so we weren't into DIY where we said we'd be like, okay, let's watch a film rather than let's build something. So yeah, and birthdays were let's get a DVD and a takeaway, wasn't it? You know, that was kind of your treat, I suppose.
Yeah, I want it. Well, I mean, obviously I'm the same with books, obviously. But I think books are a little bit different because I'm being a bit more strict now, as in like if I'm not going to read it again, just send it again. I think there's something about films though that is very, it's comforting, and if you find something, and because there's so many aspects to it, so you've got music, dialogue, visual, lighting effects, all that sort of stuff to it. It's a multi-layered medium. I think that's why it's appealing to us. That is a good question.
But I think sometimes for me, like if I think about The Prestige, I reckon I've seen that 10 times.
Oh, easy, yeah.
But I think every time I watch it, I spot something else in it that I hadn't spotted before in terms of, so without giving the plot away, in terms of some of the misleading that they do, you know, in the film, or whatever what do they call it when they try and divert your attention away from some. It's like distraction, isn't it?
Misdirection.
So there's a lot of misdirection in it, isn't there? Because it's all about magic. So I'm forever looking for the misdirection.
I think that's what I like about it. I mean, like I said earlier, Community is a fantastic example for that because you watch it back, you watch it over and over and over, and each time you'll notice something different. So whether it's because the dialogue's so quick, whether you'll pick up something else that they said, or whether you'll see something in the background that's going on, and just all the references and the throwbacks and the twitch and the switches and all that sort of stuff is brilliant. I think that's what I like about it. We're
just film geeks, really, aren't we?
We are, but I think it's not a bad thing. I think
I'm not saying it's bad either. I'm just saying, you know, I think we do like all that detail. You know, it's a bit like I mean, I'm not like this with a book. A book I scan. To be honest, I'm a bit lazy when it comes to reading. I know I don't read every word.
That hurts me.
I knew that would hurt you. I don't read every word. So
not good.
Whereas with a film, I'm not saying I listen to every word first time, but I'm happy to go back second, third time and pick up everything. I don't have to rewind if I don't hear a word. But I I like all the detail, and you know me, I like to second guess the plot, don't yeah. So I'm still getting told off for that.
That's what you bloody should. It's like because especially if you guess it right, you're like, oh, you figured it out. Because yeah, for anyone who hasn't experienced this, watching a film with someone who's guessing it all the way through, it can be a bit annoying. Partly because if you're just in the film and then they've guessed the twist before they said anything, you're not even considering there's going to be a twist. As soon as they say it, you're now like, ah, oh, damn it, it's now figures what's going to happen. Yeah. But here's another one. Also, I've got a mutual friend,
right,
who if you say a film to her, she'll go and read the synopsis before she chooses to watch it, and you're like, why are you doing this? Because if it's like Crazy Stupid Love, The Prestige, I'm trying to think of other good twists, Sixth Sense, whatever. If it's one of those films, you've just ruined it for yourself before you even watch it. Fight Club, same thing.
Yeah, but I think, I don't necessarily need a synopsis. And actually, I don't think trailers work for me either, because some trailers are really bad.
Yeah,
I like Fight Club's a great example. I saw the trailer for that at the cinema and thought, oh, I don't want to go and see that.
Yeah, but just a bunch of blokes hitting each other.
Yeah, but actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
because there's a hell of a lot more to it, and which you can't give away. You cannot give away in a trailer anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, but if I know the other person really well that says you've got to see this film, and I think they know me well, I would trust to watch that.
Mm-hmm.
The only people I don't trust are people who like horror, who go, oh, it's not frightening. It's a bit like someone who makes a hot curry.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, it's not very spicy. It's like,
no, it's not very spicy to you. Yeah,
exactly. And that's the only thing I suppose that I struggle with.
Yeah, no.
We watched Greenland the other day. We watched Greenland. It's Gerard Butler. It's just come out. Okay. It's about a meteor attack of the planet. It's great.
On.
It's great.
Armageddon.
It's great, Gerard Butler. No CGI.
If you want to see a great Gerard Butler, you need to watch Geostorm, which is as stupid, because it's him, Andy Garcia, and Ed Harris.
Right. Okay.
And it's basically we fucked up the planet, so the world has found these stupid storms. So what they've done is they've created these satellites that can manipulate weather. So we're like, we're gonna have rain at this time. There's a typhoon coming up. Okay,
I think I have heard of that. Yeah.
We'll dissipate into here. We'll dissipate these electrons or whatever. And it's so stupid, but it's a great film. Like, it's really good. It's really entertaining. Watch it. It's good. It's good.
The other one that's really really bad but really good is The Rock. Is it The Rock? Yeah, The Rock. Yeah, The Rock. With Skyscraper.
Oh yes.
It's just like how he even gets onto the skyscraper.
Isn't he like missing a leg or something?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Like, what the fuck?
Yes. It's like
this giant Samoan dude missing a leg is now on a skyscraper. So, all right.
And I'm kind of thinking, of course, I'm thinking, okay, that leg's going to have to come into it somewhere. Otherwise, why would you put the leg in the plot? That's my brain. It's just like.
So it's either going to be, it's going to have to be. He's going to have to like fashion a prosthetic out of a pipe or something. Yeah.
It's just.
I don't understand him, because his choice in acting is really weird, because he is a superb actor.
Just froze.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
He is a superb actor. Right.
Yeah.
Remember, because Pain and Gain, how the hell he plays like a man of God who's a cokehead. You're like, what is going on? And do you remember Gridiron Gang?
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's worthy of an award. That portrayal was amazing. But then he does fucking Rampage. You're like, why are you doing this? You are a great actor.
He's just paying the bills.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Like he needs the money.
Yeah, I suppose so. But if you've got an expensive lifestyle, you've then got things cost a lot of money.
from his most of his posts, he has a gym he flies around with him. So he has a plane that flies his gym in, and they then build it for him so it's ready whenever he wants to train.
He doesn't just think a few stretchy bands in his suitcase is enough then, clearly.
Have you actually seen the size of this dude's legs?
Yeah, I have. Well, on film.
Oh,
yeah, no, I can. No,
his
I think,
Instagram's another level.
but I've not followed him on Instagram. But I think the thing for someone like him is you've got to maintain that the whole time, haven't you?
Yes. Oh yeah, he'll land somewhere and be doing like.
Yeah, you can't take 2 weeks off, can you?
No, yeah, he'll land somewhere and be doing like supersets of squats at 3 a.m. or something. Yeah. He just has to do it. But same with Mark Wahlberg, he was at that for some point. He'd get up at 2, exercise for 2 hours, go back to bed, get up at 11 and repeat over and over. And he was, but again, he was just giant. He was huge.
Wasn't there someone that went to meet with him? Okay, another clue. Gavin and Stacey.
James Corden.
Yeah, James Corden went at like 3 a.m.
I'll just try and do his workout. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good TV, actually. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there was no way he was going to manage that, was it?
No baseline human could do that, and James Corden is below baseline. Like,
yeah, I mean, he I don't know what exercise he does other than maybe he walks to his car or something. I've not, he doesn't.
Probably that. Yeah, from his house to the chauffeur. I don't know.
Yeah,
probably.
I don't know.
But hey, that man's made a career out of being English and fat, so what does it matter?
Yep. Although we did do metabolic balance with my friend that did metabolic balance with Boy George and who's the other one? Oh, Sam Smith. But I don't think he must have kept to it very well, because I don't think so. He doesn't look that slim, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, Sam Smith's changed. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
I mean, the drugs.
He's put it all back on, hasn't he? Yeah, he's put it all back on, hasn't he? But again, he got too thin.
Yeah, it was not good. Thin is not. I was listening to our boy Smithy. Thin is not something to aspire to.
No.
No.
The problem I think we've got for women, and I don't know about men, you can tell me about men, but for women, they're trying to be the size they think their girlfriends think they ought to be. It's actually not about their partner. Most men
I agree.
Are not really that. They don't want their partner to be that thin. But you'll get the occasional guy that does, and he's just funny in the head, really. To be, it's almost abuse, really, isn't it?
Yep.
But I think most women, it's like I want my girlfriends to say, oh, "You're looking great," you've lost weight and all that stuff. So there's pressure from actually our own sex, rather, because I don't know what you think in terms of men and weight, whether there's any pressure or whether, because obviously for your age, I think it's a different thing about having muscles and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's with men, it's never weight, and it's the natural competitiveness to see who can lift the most.
Right.
So when it comes to muscle, women believe they are bigger than they are, and men believe they are smaller than they are.
Yeah.
So between not necessarily my peer group, because we're quite eclectic, and the people that I am closest with, they are really high performers in specific ways. So whether that would be endurance athletes, cardio, power lifters, competitive MMA fighters, whatever, they are really good at their chosen field. So some are really, really thin and can run for days. Some are medium build and can sprint really quick for a short distance, and some can lift a car. So it is different. But in the gym, if we take that as an example, or just if you're walking past men on the street, it is about who's the biggest, who can lift the most, who's the most jacked. That is just that snapshot of a look is like, okay, that's what you're trying to do, because you're competing against each other. So it's exactly the same thing, is that you're doing it not even for yourself, and you're definitely not doing it for your partner.
No.
You're doing it for other dudes, because you're doing it to be like, oh yeah, I'm bigger than you, mate. It's the big.
So it's the competition kind of thing. Top dog kind of thing.
It's more of a silverback gorilla kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah. And maybe it is a little bit for women. If you go back to just primal things, if you feel you look the best, maybe you feel that you're, I don't know, if you were looking at primal worlds, you'd get chosen to be the one to have the babies, the litter, if you were the alpha female kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at a wolf, for example, the alpha female runs the pack, and she will kill the other females or their litter if they get pregnant. Yeah.
And the other females that have to look after her litter.
Yes, yeah. So she
from memory, from watching.
Yeah, she just gives birth and then carries on hunting because she's just like, I'm done. Yeah. Yeah. No,
it's interesting. It's very interesting.
It's fascinating. And you look at animals where you've got matriarchies, obviously lions, but bees are very interesting because you've got the queen bee.
Yes.
Who it's a just stout consciousness. Same with ants. There's no individualism. It's a collective of thousands of items that have the same programming or consciousness, and that is centered upon the queen bee or queen ant, which it has the mental power and the drive to reproduce, and this is what the hive's going to do, but physically can't move at all.
No.
Which is interesting because it's the opposite of chess, effectively. Whereas the king, everyone protects the king, but the king can't do anything.
No. Interesting.
It is, and I think I was learning more about it from, I think Sapiens was talking about it. How he was saying it was our difference from being take a lion or something or a deer. I think the example was a deer actually. If you take like a gazelle or an active steer, they give birth because they can carry to term, and then the animal will within a couple of minutes is up and running. But he was talking about the book was talking about how having an upright posture constricts the hips and narrows the birth canal as well, so you can't carry for as long. So then you've got it's the dependence for arguably 15 years.
It's also our head, isn't it? The brain takes up more room, so that's got to get through the birth canal, hasn't it? So that's probably and obviously the shoulders kind of, you do one and then the other, I think, from memory, but
I'll take your experience over this.
Oh, well, I know. Well,
Yeah. But actually, not with me.
Not with you. No, you're cesarean, so that's not. And I was like, I'll have one of those sheets up, please. I really don't need to see what's going on. Just pass the baby when you've got it out. Thank you very much.
Well, let me know when you're done. Yeah.
It's the weirdest feeling ever, though, because you can't feel you can't feel pain, but you can feel sensations. So it feels like the way I described it was like someone doing washing up in your stomach.
Oh, weird.
It's just like everything's being moved around like that, but you know.
I mean, it's amazing that you can take something so complex and then put it all back together again, and you're still here 20 nearly 26 years later. You're still here.
Exactly. And I still love the song that you were born to.
Oh, hang on. I'm trying to remember. No. It's got the word pain in it, isn't it? Everybody hurts.
REM.
That's it. Yeah.
Just like, okay. And it was only the radio. No, it was the radio.
Oh, right. Okay.
So because the surgeon just said, oh, just shove some music on. So just put the radio on, and that's what came on. Just like.
It's amazing, isn't it? You're absolutely right there, because the hips narrow, and the birth canal narrows, but because of our consumption of bone marrow and the size of our brain getting bigger, the head gets bigger. So it's like, it makes it even harder. Whereas like you watch a deer being born, like the mother's just like, done yet? All right, let's go.
And also, I think they haven't read 1,000 books on childbirth.
What the deer?
So, so they're just like, oh, okay, a bit of discomfort, but there we go. Whereas we're like, oh no, what was the breathing I was supposed to do, and how many centimeters am I, and all this, we've actually over, what's the word, made it too scientific.
Yep.
So a lot of women actually find they give birth better if they go more primal, if they just kind of
don't hear anything and just go, all right, this is what feels.
Just more into their natural environment that they should be in. They'll feel less scared, for starters. But I was just thinking, think like an elephant. I mean, it carries its baby.
Like,
was it 22
years?
Years or something? Because again, it's got to come out and run, hasn't it? You know, they may have a bigger brain, but it's
as much as an elephant can run.
Well, they can charge.
Well, okay. Yes, I mean it looks weird because they're so big, but yeah, fine, they run, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean obviously from a what's the word? Oh God, my brain. I tell you what today.
Point of view?
No, I'm thinking gravity. From a gravity point of view, there's more gravity on an elephant than there is on a bird, isn't there? So that's why they're slow. But I have seen pictures, seen footage of them running when they get, the male particularly. They can, wipe out a little village if they want to,
Yeah, they'll flip over a jeep, yeah.
Oh yeah, they're strong. They're strong, but yeah, being pregnant for 2 years, that doesn't sound fun. But like I say, they haven't read any books, they're not worrying about whether they're in the trimester, the first one, second, or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's got to make life easier, hasn't it?
I think an elephant must be an interesting animal for where it fits in a food chain because it's so big. You're not often going to be and particularly if you're at a prime age enough to be able to carry to term, you're probably not going to be a target.
I think the babies are. I think the babies are vulnerable. So I think that's where they have to protect the babies more than anything. So you'll, again, like you're talking about the wolves, you'll see a whole pack of females will be circling the babies, not the one that gave birth. And then I think probably they're probably eaten once they're dead as well by other, like
oh yes, of course, yeah.
The birds and all that kind of stuff, that hyenas
jackals,
and stuff. They'll probably do that. But memory wise, they have a lot of them walk for miles and miles and miles, don't they? A route every year, and they remember every year. So they clearly have got, they've got brain power to remember all that. So
yeah. I follow these Instagram accounts. One's called like Nature is Metal.
Okay.
And it's not for the faint of heart, but I think it's good for my self-education to know how animals actually hunt other animals.
Yeah.
Just so, because we're so disconnected with nature and how things actually, like, things come out, and we anthropomorphize a lot of it and put our own human values on, like, oh, that's not fair, or that's cruel, or whatever. It's like, it's just nature. Nature isn't fair. It is how it is, kind of thing.
We should just now go into singing the circle of life, shouldn't we, really?
Yeah, I mean,
but it is, that's what it is. Ultimately, it's an ecosystem that feeds each part, isn't it? Ultimately, and it's cruel along the way, and we kind of don't fit very well in it. Really,
so we're the abnormality. We are the mutation that shouldn't have happened, kind of thing. Arguably,
yeah.
I mean, while we were on the savannah, we had our place because we fed saber-toothed tigers and crocodiles. Whereas now, nothing eats us besides us. Not even we eat us.
Well, other than we've now got the tiny stuff, haven't we? Like viruses are now deciding. They're now.
Well, that was what I thought. I can't remember what it was. I want to say it was Dan Brown, but it might have been some other fiction book. But it was the argument being that nature was coming up with multiple ways to kill us because there's too many of us. But the earth as itself is a just out organism, and it tries to maintain, and because we have developed science, I don't know why it's in quotes because science is a thing. I was trying to say as in we've created science, as in science is our technology is a synthetic component to our existence that isn't part of the natural order. We can now manipulate it so that we are keeping so much at bay. Whereas the argument being that the earth is throwing things at us to try and regulate us because there's too many of us and we're just fucking shit up.
Even like it's snowing here today, years gone by, that would have killed off a certain number.
Oh, yeah, you would have. Yeah, definitely.
Without central heat, and obviously we still do get people killed by storms and floods and all the rest of it, don't we? But we would have had more people, gotten rid of by nature, wouldn't we?
Yep.
Whereas you say we can protect ourselves to an extent. Although there was that glacier in India, did you hear about that broke a dam?
How did the glacier get to India?
I don't know. It came down a mountain. I don't know.
Are glaciers on mountains?
Oh, I don't know. Look it up. It's only this week. I only know the rough details. I'm sorry, not. You know me. I just pick up tiny bits of information and then don't really have any detail behind it.
I think it's just semantics. So I'm just like, well, what is a glacier?
Oh, don't start.
No,
I'm
no,
not. Look, I didn't do geography. Okay, I did languages. So yeah.
Fine.
Did
I
you
don't know
do?
either.
You did geography.
Yeah, to GCSE, nothing beyond that.
All right.
Sorry.
I didn't even do that.
Huh?
I didn't even do that. I did it to like year 8.
I'm not being weird. I've just got a slightly full bladder, so I'm just taking less pressure.
Well, maybe also, we are what we on hour wise.
Hour 10, something like that.
Maybe we need to wind up then if you need to.
We can. Well, yeah. I mean, it's leave them wanting more and all that. Yeah, we've done good. We've covered a lot.
We have covered a lot. We've been all over the place.
All over the place.
Well, I hope that was interesting for you.
Yeah. Well, hey, I learned something. It's what's the thing I've got to watch? It's so secret, dirty secret.
Sin.
It's a sin. Yeah. Okay. Memory shit.
I'll text you.
Okay. It's a sin. Okay, I'm gonna watch that.
Let me know what you think.
All right, we shall.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mom. I'll see you later.
Do you want to end the recording?
Yes. Bye.